to the topic. Last session, session 4, we have seen a couple of topics. Let me just quickly go through the last session's topics, what we have covered, just a recap of what we have covered last week. And then I will go through the assignment. I have given an assignment with 4 exercises. So I would explain. Most of them have been already covered in the last week, just as a for the purpose of practice we have given you. So I would just explain the assignments, and then I will start with the session 5. Session 5, we are going to cover how to handle alerts, confirmation, and prompt. These are the pop-ups that would come. So, and then also we would see the action class and some of its methods. And then Ebi will take over and he will continue with how screenshot capturing and also exception handling. Okay. So let me just quickly give an overview of what we have covered in the last session. Let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, Suman.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. So these are the concepts that we have covered in the session 4. The first topic is the synchronization. Synchronization is needed so that the Selenium will perform actions on the web elements only when they are available. If they are not available and if Selenium is trying to perform an action on a web element, then it throws no such element found, exceptions. It will the system will throw some exceptions. So to avoid that, we have this concept of synchronization, where Selenium waits for an element till it gets fully loaded on the web page. So, and there are different, so this is basically a kind of wait, but there are different waits. So we have seen unconditional waits, and when it comes to conditional waits or conditional synchronization, we have seen implicit wait, explicit wait, and page load timeout. Okay. And fluent wait, I have explained the concept, and because some of its methods are already deprecated, we have not gone through the example, but I also have shown you what are the methods that are deprecated as part of fluent wait. You can find the list of all the deprecated methods in the selenium.dev website. I have shown you that. So the see, commonly for an unconditional wait, we use thread.sleep, and when we use thread.sleep, we also have to use an exception, throws exception, because it is interrupting the execution of the program. So Java compiler expects this throws exception as part of the syntax that also I have explained in the last class. So that's how we, for unconditional synchronization, we will use thread.sleep, and coming to conditional, we will use implicit wait. Okay, the implicit wait, the purpose of implicit wait is to wait for an element for certain amount of time when we are using a method specifically called find elements. So whenever we use find elements, it will wait for certain amount of time till that before throwing the exception. No such element found exception. Okay, and explicit wait is not only it is waiting, just waiting, it will also have the expected conditions. That means it will also check for a particular condition of a or a status of a web element, and based on that, if that condition is met, it won't wait for that much time, and it will perform the action. So the explicit wait, it not only just waits, it also considers the status of the web element or the condition of the web element. Okay, and page load timeout is just till all the full page is loaded. It waits for a certain amount of time. We have to mention that time. So these things we have seen, and also yeah, these are the syntaxes in this slide, and we have gone through some examples of the programs too. And then we also have seen how to interact with different types of web elements other than just the text box or edit box, or the submit buttons. So we have different kinds of elements like radio buttons, checkboxes, and drop downs. We have seen how to identify them, how to locate different types of web elements such as radio buttons, checkboxes, and drop downs, and how to perform actions on them. We have also seen how to use different conditions as part of XPath. In using XPath, we can also use conditions like and or. For example, if if two elements have one property common across them, there will be a second property which makes them unique. So in order to identify an element uniquely, sometimes we may need to use more than one property of that particular element. We have seen using type button and also ID button, ID property. Type property and ID property, both are two different properties which can be used as part of XPath, but we can use AND condition as a part of XPath, and we can use both the properties so that we can uniquely identify an element. I will also explain as I explain the assignment part. I also just will go through it for one more time. And like that, we have seen how to interact with the radio buttons, checkboxes, and drop-down lists. When it comes to drop-down lists, we have to use select class, and because drop-down itself is not just an element in itself, we will have some list of elements, list of items to interact with. So we have to use other than, I mean, unlike the other types of web elements, for drop downs we have to use explicitly a class called select, and there are different types of methods, different methods using which we can interact with the different list items within the drop down. So we can use a method select by index, or select by value, or select by visible text. So these examples we have seen last time. And also the other important concept in Selenium is dealing with different types of frames. Again, a frame is part of a web page which is embedded in a web page. So it is also can be a web page within a web page. So we need to switch between these two web pages, or from main web page to the iframe, and perform the actions on the elements which are part of iframe, and then we have to come back to default content, which is the overall or main web page. So we have seen how to switch to iframe and perform action, and again switching back to default content, which is the main page, and continue performing actions on the main web page. So these are what we have seen in the last class. And let me show you the assignment. So the assignment is there are 4 exercises. The first one is to enter a text in the text box in one of the edit boxes. So let me open this site. So in this text box, we have to enter some text. So we know it very well. First, we have to open the browser and enter the URL in the browser and get the website loaded. And after that, we need to locate the element in which we want to enter the text. So this is the locator. Okay, this is the web element, and the ID of this web element is fname. Okay, so we are using that fname here and using that ID property. The property is ID and value of that property is fname. So using this, we are identifying that and sending keys. So that is one exercise in the assignment. And then the other question or other exercise is to click on button only when it is enabled or only when it is visible. Okay, so for that, for example, we have taken this the same page only, and this is the submit button. We have to click on it only after making sure that it is enabled. So how to make sure that it is enabled? So we can use is enabled method. Okay, so till now we know how to find an element, right? So after that, we can use dot and we can use is enabled. So this method, if this particular element, whichever we are finding, is enabled, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay, so let me print that also here, whatever. Okay, I'm just naming, I have taken a Boolean variable, and the name of the variable, I just named it as is visible. Okay, so it will print whatever the value this is enabled method returns. Okay, and I'm using it in a condition, and if it is true, then only it will perform the action. So my purpose is met here. So I am clicking on a button only after making sure it is visible. Okay, that is the answer for the second question, second exercise. And then the third one is to select a radio button, a particular radio button, only when it is clickable. And also, if it is not clickable initially, it should wait. A certain amount of time. It should wait for certain amount of time till that gets enabled, and only when it gets enabled, we have to click on it. So it's a combination of a condition and a wait. So a combination of checking the status of an element and waiting for some time. For that purpose, we should use explicit wait. So I have used explicit wait a concept here, and I am waiting for 30 minutes. But before that, if this element is clickable, if the condition, I am checking for an expected condition, that is the element to be clickable. If that is clickable, okay, then I am clicking on it. So this is the concept of explicit wait. So this is how we use. And also, as I told you, the XPath condition, this is how, for example, this particular button, I am using two properties. One is type property, other is title property. So both are the properties of the same element. Okay, but I am using both these properties in combination as part of XPath to identify that particular button. Okay, this is how we can use multiple attributes as part of a XPath using the condition AND. Okay, so this is the third exercise. This is the answer for third exercise, and fourth one is the iframes. Okay, first let me run this because these two have a different URLs or websites to deal with. So let me run this one first, and I will explain the fourth one and run it. See, testing is entered, and then submit is clicked, and then radio button mail is selected. Okay, so for selecting a mail, I have used the concept of explicit wait, and for clicking button, I used is enabled method which returns a Boolean value. And after making sure that it is enabled, then only I have clicked on button. And for entering text in text box, I use the concept of XPath with conditions. Okay, I just I just use this concept to interact with these three elements. Okay, so let me just explain the fourth question in the assignments. This is the fourth one is to is dealing with the iframes. So we have to open a main website. The main website is this one. Okay, I'm opening using driver.get, and then I have to switch back to the particular iframe. Okay, so I should know the name of the frame, and I have passed that as an attribute, as a parameter to switch to that frame. Okay, driver dot switch to dot frame of the frame name I should give. So then it moves to that particular, the control moves to that particular frame, and inside the frame I am finding an element which is nothing but an image, and I'm clicking that image, and after that I have to come back to the main page, for which I have to use driver dot switch to dot default content. Okay, and after moving to the main content, main web page, I am clicking on a link which has a link text as free websites scripts. Okay, so this is the answer for the first question in the exercise. Okay, let me quickly run this. Okay, it has quickly done all these things. So for the purpose of explanation, I am going back. So this is the main web page, and this is the frame which is embedded within the main page. And in this frame, I'm clicking on this image and coming to the main page using default content method and clicking on this link, free website scripts. And when I clicked on it, it moved to next page. I'm so navigating forward. So it came to this page. Okay, this is about the exercises, and let me start with the session 5 content. In session 5, so we will be covering how to handle alerts, confirmations, and prompts. What are these? These are all the pop-ups. These are all the different kinds of pop-ups as part of the web browser. So whenever we interact with the with a web page or the content, whenever we interact with the content of a web page, sometimes we may get some pop-ups. So those pop-ups are different. So how to handle them? So that is what we are going to see now. So alert, confirmation, and prompt. These are three different types of pop-ups. What is an alert? Alert is just a message or just a notification that that should be displayed to the user. So user should be aware of this. User should just be aware of some information or some warning, some information, some update. So for that purpose, a box or a pop-up will be displayed with the message, with the warning message or with the update message, whatever it is. So with a single button, and by clicking on that button, no value will be returned. It is just for the information's sake. So the website will not take any decision, the website will not take any action based on the user interaction. So it need not take any action based on the user interaction. It is just displaying the user some information, but it will not take any action. So that's why this alert will not return anything. Alerts will not return, just a simple alert will not return any value. It just displays, and user will click OK, and that's it. Okay. So for that purpose, we use alerts. If website has to take some actions based on the interaction with the based on the response from the user, then we will go for confirmations. Confirmations will be there will be two buttons. There will be two buttons, OK or cancel, or yes or no, true or false, kind of. So whenever user clicks on OK, there will be a positive flow, and if user clicks on cancel or no, there will be an alternative flow. So in our programming, we have to, if we have, based on the user response, if we want to take two different flows, one is a positive flow, another is an alternative flow, then we will design confirmation boxes. And once the confirmation pop-up is displayed to the user, based on how the user has responded, we have to write our program, or we have to take further steps. We have to take a decision on which elements to click next after receiving the response from the user. So for that purpose, we use confirmation box. So alert will have a single button which doesn't return any value. Confirmations will have two buttons, and it will return two different values. Okay, one for each button. Those two buttons can be OK, cancel, true or false, yes or no, like that. Okay. And prompt is something different. Prompt is something not only just it not only expects just a response, just a click from the user. It also expects some input from the user. So if we want to display some information to the user, and also want to get some input from the user, so other than clicking yes or no, we want some text message from the user. So in that case, we use prompts. Prompts will be used. So whenever a prompt is presented to the user, user will type some text. Okay, that text can be read by the program, and accordingly the programming logic will be developed, or will take different flows. So that is the purpose of, that is the difference between alert, confirmation, and prompt. So alert is a single button, a pop-up which is having a single button which doesn't return any value. Confirmation is something which displays something with two buttons, and two buttons, each of them will return two different values. And prompt is something not only returning just a value by clicking, it also returns the text that the user is inputting, or whatever the user is providing in that prompt box, edit box, that will be returned to the program. So I will just take an example of this website and I will explain. So to explain the interactions with alert, confirmation, and prompt, I am going to use this particular URL. Okay, first let me open this URL in a browser. Okay, it is a simple web page, just to explain the purpose of different types of pop-ups. Okay, it just has 3 buttons. One is confirmation box, alert box, and prompt. Okay, so first let us see alert. When we click an alert button, it will just display some message, some warning. Okay, that's it. Okay, and next I'm showing this is confirmation box. Okay, so click on confirmation box. Okay, so it will have 2 buttons, and when we use it when we want to take 2 different actions based on the response from the user. So user may click OK. If he clicks OK, the program should take one flow, and if user clicks on cancel, the program should take a different flow. So when such situation is there, then the designer will design the confirmation box. Okay, so I'm clicking on OK, and see it is displaying as confirmed. Okay, so what if I click on cancel? It is rejected. So this is an alternate path or negative path. And prompt is something that we need to enter some text in addition to just clicking yes or no or OK or cancel. We have to enter some text also. Okay, so this we'll see with the examples. Okay, so let me open my Eclipse and write a program for this. I am creating a class. Okay, I am naming it as session 5 demo. Okay, I need a main method too. Okay, so let me use first thing. So the website is this one. Okay, I need to import Chrome driver. Okay, so after this, I need to click on different types of buttons. Okay, alerts. So let me see what is the property of this. Okay, so let me open a separate browser. Okay, let us see the properties of this. First, let us interact with alert. So I'm clicking on alert, and if I see the properties and values, see this is an input. The tag is input tag. Okay, and type is it is a button. Okay, and the ID property, the ID property ID has a value of BTN alert. So I can identify this button by this ID, BTN alert. Okay, so let me interact with it. Driver dot find element by ID. Okay, BTN alert. Okay, so and let me click on it so that I will have the pop-up. Okay, so I have the pop-up now. I should have pop-up now after executing this. And then what I have to do, I have to click on OK. Okay, so how to click on OK? So there is, I have to switch to the pop-up and click on OK. Okay, so driver dot switch to, I have to switch to what I have to switch to. I have to switch to an alert. Okay, and alert, and what I have to do on the alert, I have to click OK. So OK is accept. So accept method, when I use it, it will click on OK button on that particular alert. So what I have done here, I have opened an URL and I clicked on a alert button. Okay, then a pop-up appears. On that pop-up, there will be a OK button, and I should click on OK, which is nothing but using accept. I can do that one. Okay, so clicking on OK is nothing but accepting. Okay, so I'm using alert.accept. Okay, let me save it and run it. Okay, it was done very quickly. So for the purpose of demo, let me use some thread dot sleep. Okay, so it will be visible. Okay, let me wait for say 2 seconds. Okay, here also. So as I told, whenever we use this thread, the compiler expects an exception in the at the method level. So at the method level, we have to throw this, we have to declare this exception, throws. Okay, throws interrupted exception. Okay, let me save and run it. Okay, browser is getting open. See, alert came and it clicked on OK and alert is gone. Okay, so that is about dealing with the alert. And let us also see the next one. Let us see the confirmation. Okay, how to deal with confirmation boxes or pop-ups with a confirmation. Okay, again the same. First we need to identify the we need to identify the element or locate the element. So for that we need to know the value of one or more of the properties or attributes. Okay, so this is also input type. Okay, input, it is also having a tag input, which is a type button. So type is one attribute, ID is another attribute, on click is another attribute, and these are the values of button is the value of the attribute type. BTN confirm is the value of the attribute of ID. Okay, so these are the attributes and these are the values. So I should use both in order to identify a web element. So I should use for this, let me use ID simply, BTN confirm. Okay, so let me go here. So now let me find an element with ID BTN confirm. Okay, and let me click on it. Okay. After clicking, let me also wait for some time, 2 seconds. And then this confirmation, this is, since it is a confirmation pop-up, it will have 2 buttons. Okay, so either I can accept or reject. So what I should I can use either accept or dismiss. So first, in order to accept or dismiss, first I should switch to that alert. Okay, using switch method. Okay, and after switching, to which I should switch to, I have to switch to alert. Okay, driver dot switch to dot alert dot, I can either accept or reject. So first let me accept. Okay, and say, okay, first let me accept. Okay, and also let me write code for dismiss also. Okay, okay, so in order to dismiss, first I should have these pop-up, right? So let me also click again. After accepting, I should click again and dismiss. Okay, let me also use wait. Okay, so let us see. Let me save this. So what I now did, let me comment out this code for alert. Okay, okay, so I'm dealing only with the confirmation box now. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm clicking on it, then pop-up appears. I am switching to that alert, and first I'm accepting. Okay, and then I'm clicking on the button again so that I can dismiss next time. Okay, now second time I'm dismissing it. Okay, so let me say this. Okay, first it will see confirmed, message confirmed here. Now I am canceling it. See, the message changed to rejected. Okay, so this is how we can do. And as I told you, we can use it for different purposes. Okay, so how, suppose, let me also just explain. Can we read this text? So they say if it is rejected, it has to take separate one alternate path, and if it is accepted, then it should program should take a positive flow. So I'm just explaining because while developing programs, these situations will generally occur. So based on the user response, we have to take 2 different paths. So I'm just so in order to see these 2, clicking on OK or cancel is returning some value, right? So let us get this text whichever is being returned. Okay, so again I'm just for the purpose of explanation, I'm repeating it. See, when user clicks on OK, it returns confirmed. Okay, so when user clicks on OK, we have to take some positive path. And when user clicks on cancel, which is rejected, we have to take an alternative path. So how that can be done in terms of programming? Okay, so if we want to take 2 different paths based on the user response, we have to use some conditional statements. Okay, and how the program knows that user has selected OK or cancel? program knows it by the value that it returns. Okay, okay, clicking on okay returns one value, clicking on cancel returns another value. So program should know whatever the value that is returned. So this is the value that is being returned, right? So let us read this in the program. Let us get this, whatever is returned, into our program. How to get that one? Let us see how to get this one. So this is also an element, right? This is also an element. So let us get this text. Okay, so I'm getting this text. Okay, let me use ID for this is output, right? So let us see if we can use this ID and get this text from this web browser. Okay, so driver dot, that also is an element, so find element, and by ID of that element is output, right? So yeah, just output small o. Okay, output. Okay, driver dot find element output. So let us get the text. Okay, so if you use get text, it will get the text of that particular element which has been located by using its ID output. Okay, get text. Okay, so this, whichever text that is returned, we are getting. So let us get this into a string. Okay, let us get this into a string. Let us name this also as output. Okay, okay, we are getting this into output. So if this output is confirmed, then we have to take positive flow. If this output is rejected, we have to take alternative flow. Okay, so this confirmed text is coming when we click on OK, and rejected text is coming when we click on cancel. Okay, so what I should compare, right? I should compare whether this output returns confirmed or not. So I can use equal ignore case. Okay, okay, let me use. So it returns a Boolean value. Okay, if it is equal, it will return some positive value. Okay, just positive flow I will mention. Okay, else if, what is the other response, or what is the other value that can be returned? One value that can be returned is confirmed. Other value that can be returned by clicking cancel is rejected, right? That's what. Let us use the same text. Cancel, rejected, and there is an explanatory mark. So if output equal ignore case, rejected, explanatory. Okay, then it should take an alternative flow. Okay. Copy this. Okay. So let us see, let us click on both OK and cancel, and let us see whether this positive flow and alternate flow have been taken care. Okay, whether our program reads the user response and going to perform the next further steps accordingly or not. Okay, so that's what we will, that is the purpose of this program, and let us see if that is catered for. Okay, there are some errors. Let's see what are those errors. Okay, the brace is missing. Okay. Okay, let me run. Okay, now let me, okay, it already clicked. Okay, it is clicking on both. Okay, it is clicking on both, and then it should, let us see what is printed here. See, the last action is dismissed, right? The last action is dismissed. That means it has returned rejected value, and this rejected value, whatever return, the rejected value will be in output, and we are comparing that with this expected value, and that's why it is taken. So for example, let me comment out one, let me comment out dismiss first. Okay, let us first accept. So in this case, since we are accepting, it will return confirmed. That confirmed will be captured in the string output. Okay, so this output, the string output will have this text, and if both are equal, then it should print positive flow. Okay, so let me run this one. Now user is going to click on OK. OK returns confirmed text, and this confirmed text is being verified against the expected value, which is confirmed, and then it should take the positive flow. So that's why, see here, positive flow is printed. Now let me perform dismiss. That means let me reject it. So what I will do, I will comment out this code. Okay, this code is for accepting, so I am commenting out that one. Now I am dismissing, then it should print this one, alternate flow, it should print. Let us see. Okay, it returned rejected, and this rejected is equal to output, so alternate flow is printed. Okay, this is how in real-time programming we have to, there will be some instances where we have to use this logic like this. Okay, so let me quickly explain the prompt also. So let me comment out all this. Okay, the ID for prompt is btn prompt. So let me use this directly here. btn prompt. Okay, I'm clicking on it, and I have to enter some value in the alert, right? So let me try switch to, to alert, okay, dot send keys directly. Because it is already an alert, I need not again try to find the element. Let us see if that works. Okay, let us give this text. Okay, and then let us wait for some time. And let us accept it. Okay, so okay, now let us run this one. What we are doing, we are clicking on the button which should prompt, and then user should enter something and accept it. That's it. Okay, so it opened, it entered this text. Okay, let me run again. Okay, with this different input, let me run again. So it is opening, it should open the browser, click on the prompt button and enter test. See, testing. Earlier Selenium is printed, now testing is printed. Okay, so because that is what we have entered in that text box using send keys. Okay, so this is about handling different pop-ups like alerts, confirmation box, and BTN prompt. Okay, let us also see quickly because we also have to cover the other topics. Abhi has to cover other topics. Let me quickly go through the next topic. Okay, next one is action class and methods. Okay, so how to deal with what is action class? Okay, so action class is used to emulate the complex user gestures or keyboard or mouse events. Suppose sometimes we want to enter, see in the earlier example, in the edit box, we have entered testing. T is capital, E is small letter, S is small letter. So all the rest are small letters. Suppose what if I want everything to be typed in capital letters? In order to do it manually, we will press shift key and press on the keys so that whatever I click on while pressing shift key, that will be printed in capital letters. So how to mimic this using Selenium? So this is something for which we need keyboard events. We need to generate some keyboard events, okay, or mouse events. Sometimes we need to hover over a menu. Sometimes when you hover your mouse pointer to a particular menu item, then only the sub menu items will be displayed. So what we are actually doing there, we are moving our mouse pointer or we are hovering our mouse pointer over particular menu item so that it will display submenus. So how to do this? Using the usual Selenium methods like click and other methods which are part of driver instance, these are not possible. We have to use a special class to support these kind of user gestures such as keyboard or mouse events. Okay, so user has to move the control, right? Move the pointer or hover over a particular menu. That is an user event, okay, which user has to do using a mouse. And also pressing on shift key and clicking other letters in order to type capital letters that is also user interaction with the keyboard. So these user interactions with the keyboard and mouse can be possible using actions class. Okay, there are different methods that are available. We will see only some methods as an example as part of this class. See, move to element is one method. Move to element is just moving, it just moves the pointer to particular element, to the desired element. So it is same as hovering over an element. So in order to display submenus of a menu, sometimes we need to hover over a main menu item. For that purpose, we can use this move to element. We have to locate that element first, and then we should use this move to element method as part of actions class. Then the pointer will be moved to or will be hovered over the main menu. And we can also use this click method even using actions class. Okay, after hovering over a particular menu item, we need to click, we need to select a submenu item. In that case, we have to use click method. So click method is also provided as part of this actions class. We can use that one. And as I told you, we need to, if we want to type the letters in capitals, first we need to press on shift key and then click on the other alphabets. So we need to press on shift key. So to press on shift key, we can use method keys down, or okay, and to release the shift key, we can use keys up, keys down, keys up. And we can also use send keys method here also. If you want to input some text, we can use send keys. Okay, and sometimes we need to right click on particular elements. Okay, so certain elements we need to right click and see their properties. Okay, for that purpose we should use a method called context click. Context click is nothing but the right click. Okay, so if you want to click, if you want to right click on any element, then we can use context click. And sometimes we may need to double click on an element. Okay, suppose there is some text we have entered in a edit box and we want to highlight it to copy. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to double click, then that entire text will be highlighted, then we can copy. So for that purpose we have to use double click. So these double click, context click, these methods are not available by default web driver interface. We have to use actions class in order to have this complex user gestures simulated in the web page as part of our automation. Okay, for this, to explain these things, I will be using Facebook website. Okay, let me quickly open this and demonstrate. Okay, let me close all these browsers which were opened earlier. Okay, so let me go to my Eclipse and let me also comment all this out. Okay, now to explain this concept of actions class and methods, I am using Facebook, right? So let me open facebook.com. Okay, so let us first open it in a browser, and in order to locate the elements, let us open and find the elements. Locate the elements first. See what are the values of different attributes of web elements that we are going to interact with. Okay, so F12, control F12. Then let us first see, let us enter some text here. Okay, and then double click it to highlight. Okay, we will do that. Okay, so just identify this one, look at this one. So this is input type email. Okay, and the name and ID both are having the same value, so I can use either name or ID. Okay, so okay, now I have the driver, but in order to enter text and double click on it, this double click, I cannot use the normal methods. I should use the methods that are provided as part of actions class. I cannot, there is no provision in the WebDriver instance to use driver double click. That's why I have to use actions class. So how I can use actions class? Actions, and let me create and let me instantiate this actions class. New actions, and what I have to pass this, I have to pass the WebDriver instance. WebDriver instance is driver. Okay, so this is the WebDriver instance. I have to instantiate my actions class with the by passing the WebDriver instance to the actions class. Okay, so I am passing the WebDriver instance, which is driver, as a parameter to my actions class. Okay, now I can perform actions like double click, context click on this driver, I mean on this web browser, which is Chrome driver. Okay, so I need to import these actions. Okay, so now, okay, my next thing is to click on to see. Let me open this Facebook. First, what we will do, first we will, in order to enter our username, first we will go to that email username field or email field, and we will click on that one. Make sure we click on that one, and then we will enter, right? So let me click on this one. Okay, so in order to click, I need to find an element. So let me first open this one. Facebook.com. So the property is email, right? Okay. Okay. So I can go to actions. First, I need to move to element. So in order to move to element, first I need to find that element. Okay. So first, let me find that element. So let me take that element, whichever I am finding, into a web element. Okay, so web element, let me call it as VLE. Okay, driver dot find element. Okay, by ID, which is email. Okay, So I need to import this also, web element. Okay. So now I have this element. Okay. So what I need to do now, I need to move my control to that particular element. Okay. So move to element. Which element? The element which I have found earlier. Okay. Which is ELE. Okay. I am moving there. Okay. And I need to make sure my control or my prompt is there in that web text box or not. So I need to click. If I click on that one, sometimes it is by default prompt will be there because that is the first edit box. Whenever we open a website, the first edit box will automatically have a prompt. Okay. Sometimes it may not have. So in order to make sure that we have the prompt there, we need to click on that first. Okay. Let me click on that one to make sure that my prompt is there so that I can enter the text. Okay. And now let us assume we have to enter only capitals in the username. Okay. So in order to enter the capital letters, what we have to do, we have to usually we have to press the shift button and enter, right? So for that one, we have to use a method keys down, key down, okay, key down. What I should use? I should use which key I should press down. This is shift, right? So we have to use key sequence. Okay, keys shift. Okay, let us go there where it is shift. It is all in capital letters, shift. This one. Okay, so I'm clicking on shift button. Now I should enter. Usually that's what we manually do, right? First we'll press on shift and then we will click on the alphabets or the letters in the keyboard. So by entering how we do in using Selenium, how we input some text using send keys, right? So we can use the send keys here. Send keys. And now let me enter everything in small letters, right? Why? Because I have already pressed the shift button earlier. So even though I pass small letters here, they should appear as capital letters because I have pressed key here, shift key here. Okay. Send keys. Okay. So what I have done, I moved to that particular element. Element is here email. Okay. And after moving, I just clicked on it to make sure my prompt or my cursor is existing there in that particular edit box or not. So to make sure that my cursor is there, I performed a click action and then I pressed on shift key and then I am entering some text. Here I am entering in small letters, but since I have pressed down shift key, it should be entered as capitals. Okay. So after this, after entering the text, so it should be perform. We should use, let us see. Perform is the action that has to be taken place. So whenever we use actions class, we have to use this perform method in order for that action to be taken on that particular element. Okay. Now let us see whether we are able to enter the text in capital letters or not. Okay. Let us save this one. Run this. Facebook is open. Yeah, see, my username, though I entered here in small letters, since I pressed on shift key, okay. So how I simulated pressing shift key? Using key down method, which is part of action class, okay. That's why even though I entered here in small letters, in the web page, it is entered as all capitals, okay. And what I can do now, I can release this shift key now, right? So key up is releasing. Key up is to release the shift key, okay. So keys dot shift, okay, it will release that one, okay. Now see, I want to, suppose I want to copy this one. I want to copy this one. So I don't copy now, but for the demonstration of double click, I want to, let us assume that we want to copy this one. So how we will do in order to copy? Either we will drag this one and highlight, or we will double click on it, right? If we double click, the entire text which we entered will be highlighted, okay. So let us do the same. Let us double click using the actions, the method which is available in actions class, and highlight this one, okay. So let us wait for some time and then perform the double click, okay. So there will be better visibility when we run the program, okay. So now I have to release. So already, okay, this is double click, right? So act dot double click, okay, dot perform, okay. So let us run this one once again. We'll close this window. Okay, it is waiting for 3 seconds. Now it double clicked so that it has been highlighted. You can also quickly use context click. Okay. So act dot context click dot perform. Okay. Now let us see if the right click is performed and open. Okay. Let me close this one. Run it. So Facebook is open. My username is entered in capitals and double click. Yes, the right click is also performed so that the properties and the values, attributes of the right click of that elements are populated here as a response to my right click. Okay. So this is how all these, see, we have used different methods here, right? So we used move element, which is kind of a hover over, and then we have used click, okay, and key down, key up to press on and release shift keys, and also we used send keys, okay, to input value, and also we used click, okay, and we also used double click to highlight the text, and also we used a right click, okay. We have simulated right click using the context click method. So these are the this is about the actions class and the, some of the methods that are provided as part of actions class. Okay, so we have covered this slide. So the next slide, I would request Abby to handle and take it forward. Abby, over to you. Thank you
all. Thanks, Anna. 1 second. Okay, let me share my screen. Hope everyone is able to hear me.
Yeah. SAB, you are clear. Hello, AB.
Yeah, nah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
can.
sharing.
Uh,
So hope everyone is able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Anna, for your time. Let me open the screen. So I think so far we have uh, hi everyone. Nice to see you all here. I think not many are there, but at least few people who are really interested. Maybe others do not join because of some any other reason. Yeah, these are the last topics that we want to cover, which we thought which are important and are necessaries to start with. I mean, since this session is targeted on the Selenium basics alone, I think all these what topics that we have discussed thus far are really basics. So we have seen as Suman explained, alerts, confirmation, pop-ups, action class. Now let us learn quickly a screenshot capturing, exceptional handling, and one more thing, JavaScript executor, which I did not have here. Yeah, let's quickly go. We all know why we take the screenshots. Okay, screenshot is definitely a needed thing. It is a basic thing that when we do testing, whether it is a happy path or negative path or whatsoever, screenshot is evidence. Whenever we do a testing, the manual testing or an automation testing, to capture the behavior of the application, whether it is an expected or unexpected. So screenshot is the only primary evidence basic and central evidence that we have. So even in Selenium, we have couple of classes and its associated methods to capture so that to enable this particular functionality. So here you can see the syntax what I gave. I will try to explain. I will run a program. I will run a small program as well to capture a screenshot. While Anna was telling, actually I have written a couple of programs so that to avoid to this session getting extended to save the time. I have just written one program. It is just that I'm trying to open some. I'm trying to open some what to say a website. Okay. First, I'm trying to initiate the driver. I'm trying to maximize it, and I'm trying to launch Google, and I'm trying to wait for 5 seconds. Then afterwards, forget about this try and all. I'm just trying to write two new lines. For you, these two things are new lines. Forget about this try catch. I will try to explain you in the next topic, that is exception handling. Okay. So these are the new two lines for you. Okay. So here we need to understand the basic concept, either when we are trying to understand actions concept, action class concept, or maybe next Java executor concept, or maybe even exception handling. In Selenium, basic thing is everything we will try to do, even when you're not sure if you have really observed when you're listening to uh, alerts concept. uh, Whenever we want to work in Selenium on a browser, always we want a driver is our head, or driver is our hand, using which only you can write something on the application. Okay, driver is something that using which, that is only hand that we have in place, using which we will be able to locate and perform some action on the application. So probably when you wanted to do something else, first make sure your driver goes there. Okay, that additional thing gets joined to the driver. For example, when you are trying to like deal with alerts, when you're trying to click on alerts, okay, so what you're trying to do, you're trying to first switch your driver to using dot switch to method onto the pop-up and then perform some action. With basic and central idea is, without driver you cannot do anything. Driver is the main thing. Anything that extra thing that you want to perform, first get associated your driver with that particular concept, with that particular thing, and then you perform the action. So in the same way, why I'm telling is, in the same way, that is, we call it as a typecasting. There for alerts we have a direct method. For other things we have to typecast your driver to the target one. So here I'm just trying to typecast driver to take screenshot. Okay, screenshot is again in a class. So I'm trying to typecast this driver into screenshot. Now my driver is associated with the screenshot. This particular screenshot class has one method called get screenshot as. Okay, so using this again, this is a static class or output type in which you have a file method. So this is how I'm trying to typecast. This is a basic syntax kind of. Okay, basic syntax to take screenshot. Okay, now when you take a screenshot, whatever the highlighted line that is there, you're able to see in my screen, that is the line which takes screenshot. Now after taking screenshot, it is a type of file type. It is not a type of integer, or it is not a type of string. If something Selenium learning, it is a string, it can be assigned to a string, some str s is equal to something. But this is a file. Okay, for file you're trying to assign, have a variable src, and this is of type file. So I'm storing it to this in this particular. Once I have the screenshot captured in this particular src variable of type file, now I'm trying to copy this src and put it in my file system. This is the where I want to put it, and its name will be testerror.png. In this particular path Selenium trainings, in this particular path I'm trying to paste. So for that, file utils is a method. File utils is a class which has a method called copy file, which will just copy from source to the destination. This is destination. So this is the destination and this is the source. When I'm writing the destination, this is a new file I'm trying to create. Okay, so let me open users Ebenezer desktop Selenium training. This is the Selenium. You don't see any .png file over here. Okay, so let me try to run this. So it is very clear till here. You know, these are the two lines that are all together have popped up as a new lines, and this new lines is that nothing but you are trying to typecast our driver to screenshot, and using get screenshot as method we are trying to capture this wherever driver is focusing. For example, I am trying to access this Google. I'm trying to access this Google page using this driver. Okay, but because I wanted to take a screenshot of the Google, uh, after coming exactly my control here, I'm trying to work on the screenshot mechanism. But if you wanted to take other screenshot, first try to navigate to the target location using driver. Okay, once you navigate to the target location using your driver, then typecast the driver to take screenshot using this particular methods. Copy the screenshot into a file, and now it is available in the file. Using copy file, copy this from source to the destination. Simple. And then driver.quick. You don't have to worry. I will explain later this what is try and catch. Okay, simple. Only just 2 lines. This is the basic syntax which can be used across. Trying to let me run. I just closed the Chrome browser. I'm just running it. I did maximize, so I used thread.sleep, so it got it. So it is passed. Let's go and see whether the screenshot got captured or not. Previously, I have shown you in Selenium trainings, there is no any .png file, and the name I gave is test error.png. So now you can see a test error dot it is a date of png. It is created 12:1. Okay, now the time is 12:1. So let me open this. I just double clicked on it. So yeah, screenshot got captured. Okay, so this is a screenshot, and you can see the timing in that particular screenshot. Okay, timing is not there. Only the screenshot, not the entire desktop. Screenshot of the application, a browser. That's it. So this is how we will try to capture the screenshots. Okay, so next is the important thing, that is exceptional handling. Okay, I will try to explain this. This is something important as well. Very oftenly, frequently we use this, and these are the exceptions which are almost, the concept will be the same with Java, and here it is almost that we are learning the exceptions, exception handling in Java. Okay, so what I mean to say here is, I think this I just got this particular diagram somewhere, but these arrows are bit little bit wrong. Um, like for any what to say, just before we start with exceptional handling, I just want to tell you what is exceptional handling. Okay, exceptional handling is a concept in Java where uh, something, the flow of execution goes unexpected. We want to handle that. When the flow of execution of a test case is abnormal or unexpected, so in order to handle that abnormal situations, unexpected situations, we try to handle that. Concept is nothing but the exceptional handling. Exception is nothing but, a literal meaning of exception is nothing but, it is unexpected. It is not a happy path. It is something not normal. So in Java, there are plenty of mechanisms already been in place. When I say plenty of mechanism, it is nothing but the classes and its associated methods. Okay, are already in place to handle such things. Okay, for that, mainly exceptional handling has one class which is called as a throwable, which is a superclass of all exceptions. This throwable is a superclass of all the exceptions. These exceptions are of two types. One is error and another is exception. Okay, error is nothing but internal error, some out of memory stack flow, which is in the heap memory error. This we cannot do anything, and we will not be able to handle also. We cannot. It is not good to handle this also. Okay, and when it comes to exception, so exceptions are of two types. One is checked exception, one is unchecked exceptions. Okay, when I say checked exceptions, exceptions is a name of the class, which is a super class of all the classes of both checked and unchecked exceptions. When I say checked exceptions, they are compile time exceptions. Whenever you write the code, if something is wrong, immediately it will show so and so exception is there. That is compile time exceptions. Whenever, or we can call it as a static exceptions kind of. Whenever you write the program, but you'll not be able to see any red lines or something like that. But only when you run the program, you'll be able to see some errors. Such error is nothing but a runtime exceptions. Okay, so we call it as a checked and unchecked. And some of the checked exceptions are uh, like uh, arithmetic exceptions, index out of something like that. And the runtime exceptions are like maybe file not found. We are trying to have some file, but it is not there, something like that. So these are the different types of exceptions. So how to handle this exception? We have seen some type of some checked is there, unchecked is there. So how to handle these exceptions? Okay, there are three ways to handle this exception. Okay, one is try catch block. The solution to handle abnormal and unexpected behavior in an application is through three ways. One is try catch block, second is using throw keyword, and third is using throws keyword. Once again, I'll tell you, using try and catch block, we can handle the exception. Using throw keyword, we can handle the exception. Using throws keyword, we can handle the exception. Okay. As I was telling, exceptional handling is the essential part of every Java program as well as the Selenium script. We can build and robust and optimal code by handling an exception in smart ways. Uh, if it is a good program, we should have a better reporting and better, we can say a test case or a program is very good, robust only when it has better reporting and a better exceptional handling. Okay. So there may be exceptions like no such element found, element not found exception. So all these can be handled. Okay. So there may be also many exceptions like no such element found. In runtime, you're trying to try to click on some button, but that button is not yet loaded. Okay. In that time, you'll get a stale element exception. When the DOM is refreshed, you'll get a element refresh exception. When that button itself is not loaded, you will say no such element is found, no alert present, something like that. These are all the different exceptions. Okay. Let me show you three examples. Okay, of how to implement try catch block, how to implement throw keyword, how to implement throws keyword. Simple. Okay. I'm using some try catch block here, and I will just remove this. Okay. Even though my entire program, whatever the program that I have written here, it is correct actually. There is no syntax wrong here, but still it is showing me some error. Okay, unhandled exception. Okay, this is called compile time exceptions. Okay, before running itself, I'm trying to an error is getting popped up saying unhandled. You have to handle it is telling unhandled exception type IO exception. That means input output exception. You're trying to input and output some files, input and output. So you have to, there is some exception means sometimes you're trying to copy this and you're trying to paste here. Okay, maybe at that place this particular name may have already been existed. Okay, so in order to handle such exception, it is asking we have to handle this. So how to handle? There are, we know three ways. One is try catch, second is throw keyword, and third is throws keyword. Okay, throws. So throws and try catch are, we can, it is by default, it is already there, we can just use it. Throw keyword is nothing but it is a user defined exception. We have to define our own exception kind of. Okay, so so if you hover your mouse here, it is telling unhandled exception IO type, two quick fixes, that is add throws you can use, or surrender this particular statement using try catch block. Okay, so that's the thing. So maybe I will first use throws keyword. Okay, now the exception is removed. Let me run this test case. Before running, I will just remove this. I have just used IO throws IO exception using throws keyword. Okay, using throws keyword, I'm just using IO exception. So you can see the result here. It is terminated, passed, 0 failures. Let's go here and see whether screenshot got generated here. Okay. So now let's remove this. Now again, I'm trying to see the exception. Now let me use surround with try catch. Okay. I just used it in the try catch. Let me run it again. I will remove this. I have just used try catch here and I'm saving it and running it. Yeah, program is terminated now. It is successfully executed. There are no failures. Let me go and see whether one more screenshot got generated here. Okay, so now I have shown you how to use try catch. Okay, how to use throws keyword. Okay, one more thing is there to handle throws keyword, that is a user defined. Okay, so let me, I just created that one also while Sumanana was explaining. So this is what to say, this is a user defined kind of. So what I'm trying to use using throw keyword. Okay, here we have used throws keyword. Okay, throw keyword is a user defined. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is I am, and I told you like throwable is complete superclass, and next to that exception is the superclass of all checked and unchecked exceptions. Okay, anytime if you want to write any exception, all the exceptions, these are all interfaces. Okay, these are all interfaces. The implementation of all these, what to say, the implementation of all these particular exceptions are implemented here. These are all interfaces. Okay, so every exception that you wanted to write, whether it is user defined or checked or unchecked, it will by default extend, or it has to extend. It will be it should be a child class or to the exception base class. All the exceptions are implemented in exception class. Okay, so indirectly exception is a superclass of all the checked and unchecked exceptions. And this I'm trying to have one user defined exception, and when I write that particular exception, that is the I have written one exception here. This is a age, I just gave as a age exception, and this should extend exception class. Okay, so using that, since I wanted to execute my I want to print user defined message and try to invoke the superclass constructor of exception class use my message. Okay, so throws keyword, what I'm trying to do is I'm just creating a main method here. Okay, in that main method I'm trying to create an object for this particular class. Okay, as and when you create an object, what will happen, the space in the memory will be created for the members of this object, members of this class. Okay, in the name of obj. When I say members, It is nothing but if it has any variables and if it has any methods. So this particular class, this throw keyword class, does it have any methods and variables? No, it does not have any variables, but it has one class. Sorry, it has one methods. It does not have any variables. Okay, only one method is there. For that, like a space would be created, it would be loaded. Okay, now once it is loaded, so now we are creating a, now we are trying to create an object for this particular class. Okay, as and when this constructor is executed, like a space using this new keyword, a space would be created, and that will be a reference variable to this particular. For that reference variable, this method will be approachable, is available. So now what I'm trying to do, using obj dot, this particular method is available for me. I'm trying to call this method using some way, passing some data. Okay, let me pass some less than 18, right? Let me pass some 15. Okay, I'm passing 15. So now what happens, this particular 15, this particular method is called, and it will take it is taking in int 15 is there. Now it is trying to verify if age is less than 15, whether, yeah, now I'm passing 15. So if age is 15, so it's an exception for me. So I want to like throw a new exception. I want to throw an exception with a user defined. So with a user defined, like not eligible to what, age is less than 18. So I want to print this using exception. This is my my own exception. Okay, so using this, when I pass this particular string, so this particular string will be will be passed on to the actual exception, here, and using this superclass, it gets superclass constructor, it gets executed, and now I can access that particular message using, I'm trying to print using print stack trace. E dot, in the exception, I'm using that print stack trace. I'm trying to print this. Okay, so let me run this. I just gave 15. Previously, it was 20. If it is 20, what happens if it is 20? So this is not met. So obviously, like this will not get printed because control is not going inside. Okay. So now it by default it got executed, and it was very quick. If you can see here, not eligible to vote, age is less than 18. Okay, so this is how exception happens. For example, you forget I did not give this. Okay, and I'm trying to print this. This is a general exception. Okay, So here, when if I did not give anything, I did not give my user defined. Okay, uh, I just gave this normal exception. Okay, I'm trying to validate something in this particular try catch block. And for example, yeah, and as and when like it is telling divided by 0, this is the problem. Okay, this is the arithmetic exception got executed. Okay, and this exception is actually thrown by at the rate 9. Okay, now so this 9, this particular method actually throw that exception, but who called the, from where it got called, is it here? Okay, so when you actually this particular guys, they did not actually handle the exception here, and it has to throw here. Okay, now so this is how you can see the stack trace one after the other. Generally, what happens, how the flow, how the flow is there. So all our test scripts gets executed in the JRE, Java runtime environment. So when Java runtime environment goes to the main method, it starts with the main method. This is the forward flow. In Java runtime method, once it takes the test case, it executes. When I say executes, it first executes a main method. In the main method, it is trying to call one particular method. Okay, now in that particular method, in that particular method, uh, you are doing some in that particular method, there is some operation being performed, which is actually giving some problem. Okay, some exception is coming. Some exception is coming. So that exception, what will have, that is, exception is nothing but divided by 0. And here the stack trace, step by step, how it throws is, now this particular line will throw an exception to the calling, to its calling place. It is being called using this particular method, and this particular method is being called using this particular method in the main. So that is how this backward flow will be there. So this is how exceptional handling will be taking place. So this is something about the third way, which I was trying to tell you about the using throw keyword, how to write our own exceptions. And two things here: when you are writing an user defined exception, you have to extend exception class, which is a super class of all exceptions, whether it is arithmetic exception, like array index, out of bounds exception, whatever it is. Both checked and unchecked exception, super class is exception. So this thing I want to make you clear from this session, or from this topic. What you have to learn is exception handling is the basic thing that we need to handle uh, uh, in our test cases. A best test case is said to be a test case is said to be a best test case only when it is properly exceptionally handled. So this exceptional handling is achieved using three ways. One is try catch block, and second is throws keyword, and third is user defined exception using throw keyword. So this is the third thing. This is all about the exceptions. And finally, there is one more topic which I wanted to cover. Okay, I think there is one more topic which I did not mention here, but I just have written some like a small example for also. See, so far I'm not sure if you have really what to say analyzed it. Like so far for example, Suman and I was explaining to write something into the Facebook username. He was using action class to double click and all. Okay, to write something. So previously we have achieved that using dot send keys directly using driver. Okay, but the same thing was achieved also in the using action class. The third thing, the same thing also can be achieved using JavaScript executor. Okay, then why, if the same thing is already achieved through driver, why are we having alternatives? Okay, so that is actually take a catch here. Whenever any dot click or dot send keys or any dot set any methods, whenever we are not able to perform on any application for xy reason using driver alone, then we will go with action class. And of course there are some things which uniquely action class through which we can do that we cannot directly do with like what to say, driver method, using driver method. So basically, the concept is whenever based on the behavior of the application, whenever we are not able to do a basic operations of dot click or something on the application, when driver using driver method alone, when we are not able to do it, then we take for go for action class to deal such situations. Even when even when action class is not able to execute using action class methods, we are not able to perform something, means then finally is nothing but JavaScript executor. Finally is a Java, because any page, web page, backend, it will be like it is a Java, it is a DOM object model only. It is just nothing but JavaScripting. So directly we come back to the JavaScript executor, and we will. So let me give a small example how to do a small a basic operation using JavaScript. So this I have written a small one, a JavaScript executor demo. So what I'm trying to do here is, um, what I'm trying to do is I wanted to launch Google page. I'm trying to launch a Google page. I'm just waiting for some time, 5 seconds, and then I'm trying to using driver. Using driver, you just focus on this particular line, this part alone. Using driver, I'm trying to locate. I'm trying to locate the text box of the Google. So once I try to locate this, I'm storing it in a web element. Okay. After storing it in a web element, now since I wanted to work with the driver, since I want to work with JavaScript executor, I told you a concept just before some time. Okay. While taking screenshot, whenever you're trying to work with screenshot objects, okay, you have to typecast your driver. In the same way, whenever you want to work with JavaScript executor, first thing you have to typecast your driver to JavaScript executor. And I'm just giving a reference. Okay. Since I'm doing multiple things. Okay. Or if I'm not doing only one line, then probably instead of writing all these things, I can use directly here in the bracket dot, and you will get this particular method displayed over there. So this is the syntax. So first, I'm trying to using a normal Selenium WebDriver. I'm trying to locate an object. Okay. Since I'm not able to perform, I'm just giving an example. Like since I'm not able to perform some dot click operation or setting some value, I am using JavaScript executor. First, I'm trying to typecast it. After typecasting, I am trying. This is a syntax. Okay. This um, this particular arguments of zero is a built-in object. It is a built-in object. It is a built-in it is a built-in object in JavaScript. It is a built-in object in JavaScript. So so now I'm trying to click on this particular. I'm just passing this particular element which I have this particular element which I have identified through driver Selenium WebDriver as a argument to into this. So this will be passed to this argument of zero, and dot click operation will be performed. After performing, I'm trying to do I'm trying to assign some value. Dot value is equal to Selenium. After Selenium, I'm just displaying some alert saying some welcome. Okay, so let me execute this. Actually, it was very quick. Uh, let me have add some. If you want to have, let me have one thread dot sleep. I'm writing here Selenium using JavaScript executor. Now I'm trying to display an alert. It says welcome here. Okay, so it got executed and 0 failures passed. Okay, this is how we will use this we will use JavaScript executor concept. So basic thing is in the Java, in the Selenium, it is all about 3 things in Selenium basics. First three thing is locate the element. First you have to locate the element and then perform the operation and do some testing. In the testing, whether you want to do anything and publish the result in itself. 3 basic steps before we conclude this session. 3 basic things. First, locate the element, perform the action, and then do some testing on it. First thing, locate the element. In order to locate element, we have n number of strategies to locate element. Okay. Second thing, to perform the operation, to perform the operations, we have n number of web element methods, and we do have if that when I say web element methods, it is again associated to driver. Okay, so whenever driver methods are not enough to perform some operation on an application, then we go with action class. If action class methods are also not enough, then we go with JavaScript executor. So this is all about the basics of JavaScript executor. Like I am done with my topics. I think over to Joseph if he is there.
Hey, thanks, Abhi and Suman. Thank you for all this. I think 5 weeks you spent your effort time for helping with the sessions. And thank you all for the participants who will be joining regularly for the 5 weeks. We really appreciate your commitment, and we are sure that whatever we could share out of the experience are useful for you. We would send this this session recording as well. And as I said at the beginning, we're going to have the next 2 weeks Agile Scrum training. You can join and also share with your other friends. Yeah, that's it for today. In case if you have any questions, you can ping in the chat box, and AB and Suman would stay back. Yeah, otherwise, you can, whoever has questions can put your questions in the Dropbox and stay back. Others can drop off. Thank you all. See you again in other training sessions.